Chapter 1. I'm gonna be straight up. I always thought this place sucked. It was a pleasure to toss up 2 special fingers and kick rocks in the general direction of this little shit town center stage. Fuck you, shit town. I think were the exact words I screamed at the top of my lungs at the exit point in the entrance into my brand new life. For the record, I went out with a bang. Took a piss in the mayor's lawn right at midnight. Not for her sake, but for the sake of her kids. In the chunky wet dog food that made front page of the local news after being flung to deface the sheriff's prize cruiser. That was me too. I got such a kick out of the paragraph chasing the point that it had taken them an entire day, and a neighbor dog eating at it, for them to realize it wasn't actually poop. Bunch of geniuses. Yes, I am lame enough to read the headlines of the place I left behind. I've got baggage. I had to make sure they got my message. I think they all knew, secretly, who'd done it. If not, I'm sure they were happy enough to toss the blame my way. I was a pretty easy target, and this time, justifiably so. Publicly, the town I grew up around always kept it so polite. I hate politeness. Turns even the most well-meaning into a liar. If you ask me, it's a nasty trait. There's a difference between politeness and kindness, and I'd never know the difference if not for fate. If I'm honest, I learned a lot about life in that little petri dish. Mostly, people don't change unless they want to. Big cities, small towns, we're all the same. In the end, it's our personal intentions and their motivations, and the directions we take to reach them that decide where the sameness becomes altered or fragmented. I came to the Emerald City to get away from the grotesque spotlight and scapegoat of an identity I'd somehow morphed into. Only to realize I'd jumped out of the soup bowl and into the stew pot. Just because it's bigger doesn't mean it'll feel any different for long. Our feelings seem to follow and chase us. Just because it's bigger doesn't mean it'll feel any different for long. It's a less personal echocasm. Yeah, I know. I said chasm, and I meant it. Seems more fitting than a comfy little chamber. It's an abyss filled with the same noise as before, only this time, there's an unlimited cast of potential conspirators to play out your chosen narrative. The largest similarity that I could find between components that seem to be led together is the vibration they give off. We're all just little magnets bouncing around looking for others like us, in more than just appearance. And I'm starting to realize looks can be deceiving. For instance, in big cities, instead of last names and family lines being whispered about in the brunch halls after church, it's tabloids and celebrity idols who take on the general public's built-up angst, so they don't have to look at themselves in the characteristics they find themselves loathing. Who knew I would get a front row view to the center of both venues? I sure didn't. Never in a million years would I have guessed this little rabbit would end up in the middle of a forest full of trees with vicious teeth and pointed nails, only to have a notebook full of all their secrets fall into its lap. I suddenly felt the weight of the contents resting in my satchel, while I figured out what to do with them, just trying not to get picked off by something bigger than me in the process. Maybe I should put it back where I found it, instead of carrying around a ticking time bomb, the weight of whose contents I couldn't prove or disprove one way or another. It was no better than fiction to me. But I'd grown up around characters who were no different than these, the only thing missing being access. I frowned into my cloth over-the-shoulder bag. Maddie might have known what to do. She always said I had a flair for burning shit down, and she was the fix-it. We were perfect for each other. She might have known what to do with the ammunition I'd stumbled onto, but here I am, directionless, riding the Emerald Express in circles, uncertain about most things in my life at the moment, and all I can think of is what I did the day I left that little town behind. Life is as ironic as it is darkly hilarious. So, am I supposed to do the same thing here? Piss on high society's lawn and leave them questioning whether what they're looking at is shit or something less threatening to wipe away? Or do I pretend I never found it? I can't start the story here. It won't make any sense. And since I don't know where to go from here anyway, I might just have to start at the beginning and work my way to the present moment for this to make any more sense to myself. Bear with me. It isn't a journey for the faint of heart. It starts something like this. Once upon a time, there were 2 peas in a pod. One was left alone, while the other gave up the ghost and went to God.